There is a fate worse than death, and it does not come with a final breath. It is slower, more insidious, creeping into your life without a sound. It is the horror of vanishing while still alive. Imagine speaking, yet no one hears, walking through a crowded street, yet no one sees, leaving behind stories, yet no one remembers. You were here, and then you weren't. That is the reality of the Faceless Man. You have met him before, you just don't remember. Once there was a man who spoke, but no one listened. He stood in rooms full of people, yet his presence never filled the air. He reached out, but his touch left no imprint. His name, once spoken, faded like mist. He lived, and yet he did not exist. This is not a ghost story. It is the fate of many. To be so unremarkable, so silent, so unseen, that they simply dissolve into the noise of existence. Forgotten, not after death, but long before. And tell me, how many people do you remember from yesterday? How many names? How many faces? Do you think anyone is asking the same about you?
There is a reason why obscurity is feared more than death. A man who dies is grieved, remembered, etched into the minds of those left behind. But a man who fades into nothingness, he is given no funeral, no farewell. He is erased, not by death, but by indifference. The Faceless Man is not a myth. He is the co-worker whose name you never learned. The neighbor who moved away without a goodbye. The friend whose messages you stopped answering. He is the sum of all the times we turned away, too distracted, too busy, too indifferent. And now, the question lingers. Will you become one of them? A wise monk once told me, the difference between a life forgotten and a life remembered is not greatness, but presence. He lived simply, with no riches, no title, but in every interaction, he was fully there, his eyes seeing, his words meaning, his presence unshakable. When he left this world, he did not fade. He was carried in the hearts of those who met him, his essence woven into their lives. To be remembered is not to be famous. It is to leave fingerprints on the souls of others. A kind word, a deep conversation, a moment of undistracted attention. These are the things that defy oblivion. Because in the end, it is not time that forgets us. It is people. And whether they will remember you depends on how deeply you let them see you.
There are two deaths in life. The first is when your body ceases to function. The second is when you are forgotten. Before you close this video, before my words fade from your mind, ask yourself this. If you disappeared tomorrow, who would notice? Who would care? What part of you would still remain in the minds of others? Or would you already be forgotten?